This is you. Your journey starts now. You're 22 years old the first time the door closes behind you and doesn't open again from the inside. The sound it makes is not dramatic. It's mechanical. A heavy, institutional click that the correctional officer behind you doesn't even register. He's heard it 10,000 times. You've heard it once. That asymmetry, his indifference, your attention, tells you everything about where you are in this new world. You stand in the intake corridor with a plastic bag containing the clothes you were arrested in, a toothbrush, and a copy of your sentencing paperwork. 7 years. The judge said it like a weather report. You carry it now like a stone in your chest that hasn't found its permanent weight yet. You don't know anyone inside. That is the most dangerous thing about you right now. Level 1, fish, new inmate. They call new arrivals fish. You learn this on your second day from a man in the cell next to yours who says it without cruelty, just information. You are fresh, unproven. You smell like the outside world still, which means you smell like someone who doesn't yet understand the inside one. The first week is sensory recalibration. The lights never fully go off. The noise doesn't follow a day-night pattern. Arguments, announcements, someone's television through a wall at 2 in the morning. The specific echo of a concrete block building that turns every sound into something slightly larger than it actually is. You sleep in fragments. You eat at times your body doesn't recognize as meal times. You learn the layout of the facility by moving through it carefully and watching where other people position themselves. Position is everything here. Where you sit in the cafeteria, which chair do you walk in, which wall you stand near during rec time. These are not casual choices. They are declarations. You don't know the language yet, so you say nothing with your position. You sit where there's space, you stand where there's room, and that neutrality is read by everyone watching as a man who hasn't been claimed yet. Within 72 hours of your arrival, 3 different people have spoken to you in ways that weren't conversation. They were assessments. You passed or failed each one without knowing the criteria. On day 9, a man named Dre sits across from you at breakfast without asking and puts his tray down and eats without speaking for 4 minutes. Then he looks at you and asks where you're from. Not your city, your people. You tell him. He nods once and finishes his food and leaves. That evening, someone tells you to come to the east corner of the yard at 3 o'clock rec. You go. Level 2, prospect. The organization has a name you already knew from the outside. Inside, nobody uses the full name. There are shorter references, gestures, the way men position their hands when they greet each other. A language built to be invisible to the wrong audience. As a prospect, you're being evaluated. The evaluation has no fixed timeline and no written criteria. You are expected to demonstrate loyalty, usefulness, and a specific quality that this environment values above all others: consistency. Not bravery. Not aggression. Consistency. The man who does what he says every time without requiring supervision or motivation. That man is worth more than any amount of physical toughness. Your tasks are small and deliberate. You pass messages. You hold things, items that you don't examine and aren't supposed to. You stand in certain places at certain times so that other things can happen elsewhere without interference. Your infrastructure. The organization is testing whether you are reliable infrastructure. You are inside for 14 months before anyone above you uses the word membership in your presence. Your mother visits every 3rd Sunday. She sits across a table from you with a glass partition between you, and she talks about your sister's new apartment and the neighbor's dog and the price of groceries. And you listen and respond and perform the version of yourself that she can manage. You have been performing it since the first visit. It gets easier in the way that all repetitive things get easier, through practice, not resolution. The calls cost 21 cents per minute on the facility's contracted phone system. She pays it every time without mentioning it. That fact lives in you quietly. Level 3, member made. 2 years in. The acknowledgement comes through a conversation that lasts 8 minutes in the back corner of the library during a Tuesday afternoon program period. No ceremony. A conversation, a specific exchange of words, and then you're inside the structure in a way you were not before. The difference is not visible from the outside. Inside, it is absolute. You now have standing. You have access to the organization's economy, the commissary debts, the protection arrangements, the product flow that runs through 3 different entry points in the facility that you now know by name and method. The organization moves approximately $4,000 in value per week through your unit alone. You see the edges of this. Not the full picture. Not yet. Your responsibilities expand. You are assigned a block. You are the point of contact for men in that block who need things the institution doesn't provide: protection, mediation, product information. You resolve small disputes before they become large ones. Large disputes are handled by people above you, and the handling is something you are present for twice in your first year as a member. Both times you stand near a wall and watch the corridor. You do not participate. You are present. That distinction, present but not participating, you are still refining in your head. It doesn't refine cleanly. Your cellmate for this period is a man doing 22 years who has been inside since he was 19. He is 41 now. He wakes up at 5:30 every morning regardless of schedule and does 300 push-ups on the concrete floor. When you ask him once why he still bothers, he says structure is the only thing that belongs to you in here. Everything else is on loan. You think about that sentence for months. Level 4, shot caller unit. For years in, you are given a unit, 60 men, 3 tiers, a range of affiliations, debts, obligations, and interpersonal tensions that you are now responsible for managing. Shot caller is not a title anyone announces. It is a function that becomes visible through behavior, through who comes to you when something needs to be resolved, and through the fact that when you speak in certain contexts, things actually change. The economics at this level become clearer. You manage the commissary debt book for your unit. Outstanding obligations at any given time run between $800 and $1,500 in commissary value. You track in your head because nothing is written down. Writing creates evidence. Memory creates nothing. You make decisions about people, about their debts, their disputes, their standing in the unit. Occasionally about consequences for violations of the organization's internal code. Those decisions are the heaviest part of the job and the part that receives the least acknowledgement. You make them, they're carried out through the men below you, and then everyone moves forward as if they were simply conditions of the environment rather than choices that specific people made. That's how the organization processes its own actions, as weather rather than decisions. You learn to process them the same way. It's not a conscious choice. It's adaptation. Your sentence is modified at year 4, good behavior credit, and a program completion that shaves 14 months off your release date. You will be out in just under 3 years. That information changes something in you that you don't have language for immediately. Something about the end being visible that makes the present harder to inhabit, not easier. Level 5, gang leader, facility-wide. Year 6. The man above you transfers to a different facility, and the position doesn't so much get offered as it gets assumed by proximity and precedent. You are now one of 4 men who collectively manage the organization's presence across the entire facility. 1,100 inmates. A physical economy worth somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 monthly in movement of product, protection fees, and debt interest. You coordinate with the other 3 through a communication system that uses laundry schedules and library request slips and a rotation of coded language that changes every 30 days. At this level, you interface carefully and indirectly with people outside the walls. Family members who are actually logistics coordinators. Attorneys whose visits carry more than legal documents. A corrections officer, one carefully cultivated over 2 years, whose cooperation cost the organization $800 a month delivered to an account his girlfriend controls. You have 17 months left on your sentence. The weight of the position and the proximity of release exist in direct tension. Inside, you are significant. You have authority, protection, standing, function. Outside, you'll be a 30-year-old man with a 7-year gap in his employment history and a felony on a background check that never disappears. The math of that transition sits with you in the dark every night without resolution. The realization. It happens at a parole board preparation meeting with a caseworker named Mrs. Okafor, who has worked in this facility for 19 years and has the specific effect of someone who has chosen deliberately to continue caring despite all available evidence that it is not cost-effective. She asks you what you want your life to look like in 5 years. Standard question. You've prepared a standard answer. But something about the way she asks it, without skepticism, without the institutional distance you've learned to expect, catches you without your performance ready. You sit with the question for longer than you mean to. And in that silence, you see the full length of it. 6 years of becoming something the institution needed. A function inside a structure that existed before you arrived and will continue after you leave. You came an unknown and replaceable. You are leaving significant and replaceable. The replacement is already being identified. His name is probably already known to the men who matter. The structure doesn't need you. It needed the role. You filled it. Now the role will be filled again. Mrs. Okafor waits. She's good at waiting. You tell her you want to be someone your family recognizes. She writes it down like it's an answer. Maybe it is. The exit. You walk out on a Thursday morning in November. The air is 41 degrees and smells like exhaust and wet concrete, and you stand on the sidewalk outside the facility with a discharge bag and a bus pass and $300 in gate money and the strange, physical shock of sky with no perimeter. Your mother is parked across the street. She gets out of the car when she sees you and walks toward you and doesn't say anything, just puts her arms around you, and you stand there in the cold and let yourself be held for a moment without managing it. Inside, by Thursday afternoon, the unit is already operating as if you were never there. Debts are being collected. Disputes are being assessed. A man who has been inside 4 months is being watched carefully by people who are deciding what he is. He doesn't know that yet. He will learn it the way you learned it, by moving through the dark until the shape of the room becomes clear. By the time it's clear, the room will already have him. Somewhere a door is closing for the first time for someone who has never heard that sound before. They are listening to it the way you once did, like it means something specific about them. It doesn't. It means something specific about the system. The system doesn't notice the difference.